Ginny and I spent 3 years living in Zambia, so we know a little bit about sort of this world, right? The world of people who deal in abject poverty and people who like struggle in that every day. We have a sense about that, but you compile all of the problems they have and then put an earthquake on top of it. Only people who have really been at the worst place of disasters can appreciate what the challenges are in Haiti right now. It is great to be with a room full of people who understand that and are willing to provide resources into this effort. And Charlie, again, to all the things that the Red Cross are doing, I really appreciate that just as a citizen of America. So it's really about action, and they have been about action their entire lives. And Jim happened to find himself in Haiti during the earthquake. So he has 3 sons. They're older. They're in their, not older, but they're in their late 30s, and they were, freaked out, right? They came to their mother and said, "We got to find him." She said, "If he died there, we've had this rich and full life," which is what you get if you are a person of service that Nancy and Jim have been. So it's a great honor on my part to introduce to you a Haiti earthquake survivor who's going to talk to you about his experiences in Haiti, Jim Khalil.
I'm not here tonight because I have accomplished anything, but because of the circumstances took me to Haiti. We had gone there to have a meeting with the leadership, so we were to meet with them, and so we went to the Montana Hotel just to have dinner. And we arrived just before 5 o'clock, and as we got there, we walked into the lobby, which is open inside. You can see a picture of it over there. Looks like a pretty glamorous place in that picture. And as we went in, we just said hello, and why don't we just go on down and have some dinner. We took a walk of about 20 meters and just past the registration desk, and right at that moment, I just felt the land underneath me, the whole building rise up, and I looked around, saw things shaking, and the next second, everything just fell on us. Dust is coming up and we're falling down, and you hear the thunder of all of it, and I said to myself, this is an earthquake. I wonder if this is how we're going to die. Because I couldn't imagine how a 5-story building could fall on top of us and we somehow survive. First words that I heard were from my boss, my colleague, Sam Dixon, Reverend Sam Dixon, who said, "Oh, my legs are broken." The next thing I heard was my other colleague, Clint Rabb, say, "My legs are broken too." The dust settled and we said, "How is everyone? Where is everyone? How are you?" And Rick Santos, the head of IMA World Health, and Anne Verghese, who was also there as a country coordinator, they said, "We're okay." And I said, "I'm bleeding, but I feel all right otherwise." And one of our colleagues, Sarla Chan, she was separated from us in another compartment. We hollered for her, we heard her, and she said she thought she might have some broken ribs, but it was okay. So we started yelling for help and tapping, and we heard another voice, and it turned out to be somebody from Colorado, believe it or not, whom I'd never met, Dan Woolley, who works for Compassion International down in Colorado Springs. He was trapped in an elevator. In fact, he had jumped into the elevator just as it was all falling down. He got a broken leg, but he got in and was safe. Next to him was a Haitian in another elevator. He was okay. Those were the 8 of us whose voices that we heard. It was 5 o'clock in the evening, and we knew that there wouldn't be any help coming quickly. We're in Haiti. If this is a bad earthquake, the roads must be covered with rubble. Do they have enough equipment? There are 4 million people who live in and around this area. How will they get to us? But this is a prominent hotel. Surely somebody will come eventually. We heard a helicopter go over, and it passed, and we felt optimistic. We said, just be calm. We don't know how much air we have, so we tried to stay calm. And of course, our 2 colleagues were so suffering from the fact that they were pinned, their feet, and they couldn't move. So we looked at it to see if we could do something, and there was absolutely nothing we could do. And they suffered a lot. We were in there through that night. The next morning, we heard tapping. We thought, oh, people are looking for us. And so it took a while, but they came close by. And we heard them speaking in French Creole, saying, how many people are you in French? And we said, we're 8 people. And they said, are you okay? We said, no, we're not okay. We have 3 people who are seriously injured and we need help. They went away. That was the morning of Wednesday. They didn't come back. Wednesday night comes. We said, well, we can make this another night. We just can do this. So another night came and went. The whole time our colleagues were suffering. We tried to lift my boss Sam up. He was a big man, 320 pounds, and he was suffering from having his feet pinned. So we built up with our briefcases, with the plaster that had fallen off, kind of a ramp so he could be more comfortable. And then in a short time he wasn't comfortable again. But that was what we did. And he apologized all the time. He said, look, Sam, we're not going anywhere. We don't have anything else to do. Don't worry about it. We really believed, we were all people of faith, different backgrounds, but we all believed that we would get out and we would survive together. The next day came and went. And there came a point when we said, well, are we just going to stay here? Because the thing around us, it was like a little dome just over us, 3 feet over our head, or 2 or 3 inches over our head. But there was about 10 inches underneath the cement barriers. And so I tried to crawl under one. I went under one, then I had to get under another one. About that time, I heard it go creak, and I couldn't move any further. And I said, if I don't get back out, I will probably never come out of here. So I went back in there, and there just wasn't any way to get out. But our friend who was separate from us spent the whole day looking and wandering around, trying to find a place. She was climbing over things. It was very difficult for her. She had absolutely no light. We had telephones, but they didn't work. We had laptops with light, but there was no signal. So we had looked at those immediately whenever we were trapped, but there's nothing we could do. So Sarla, our friend, to make a long story short, found an opening. It was night again on Thursday night, the 3rd night. And so after a while, she said, I hear voices. And they came closer. She said, I see lights. And so we yelled. And somebody spoke. She didn't understand them. She said, are you asking for help? We need help in here. And they said, we are French firemen. We're here to take you out. It took them 3 hours to get to us, to get to her, and another hour and a half to get to where we were to give us water. We tried to minister to our friends. After 55 hours, we were taken out under that little beam, just drug out by our feet. We had to leave our friends. And there was an article in a French newspaper that talked about the doctors that came in and ministered to them, and even spent the whole night with them. Gave them brioche, little to eat, drink, kept them awake so that they wouldn't lose hope and wouldn't succumb. They were there another 12 hours. Unfortunately, my boss Sam did not make it. And the other man, Clint Rabb, was removed, went to Florida, but he died also of kidney failure. The rest of the 4 of us, luckily, were able to get out. I tell you that story not because it's so great in and of itself, but because it is just a tiny microcosm of what the people of Haiti are suffering themselves right now.